Ricky, I just wish Ricky had been. We've talked about this many, many times, but we wish Ricky had been in WWE. The merch he would have sold, those boys, man, they were on fire. I mean, you talk about one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I mean, those guys just unparalleled. Those in the Road Warriors in the 80s, there wasn't any better. And Ricky is, his boy Kerry is doing incredible work. Kerry, he's just a wonderful young man, good talent, very smart, does a lot of stuff with the social media, with a lot of different groups, does a lot of the office stuff, got a great future ahead of him. I don't know what Ricky has planned. I'd love to see him at NXT or somewhere with WWE. He has so much to offer. That guy's forgot more about wrestling than most guys will ever know.
I'm pumped to see what's next for Ricky, and I can't wait to see what's next for Kerry. I know that, man, he's got his whole future in front of him, just graduating college. It's going to be interesting to see what Kerry looks like in 10 years. Let's talk about Vince McMahon. He made some headlines this past weekend, John. It came out that Vince has a name for his new company, 14th and I Holdings LLC, 14th and I Investments LLC, 14th and I Management LLC. This was released, I guess, over the weekend. A big announcement that, Vince is in business. Brad Blum is going to be the CEO. We know his name from WWE. We've heard this, many months ago, John, that he had bought a studio in Santa Monica and that they had offices in Stamford, and some of the usual suspects were reporting to work. But now I guess the name is public. 14th and I, which I guess was the cross street from his dad's old office at Capitol back in the day. I mean, this is kind of neat to see what's next for Vince. I guess it said that it's an investment firm that's going to pursue opportunities in sports, media, and entertainment. What do you make of this announcement and the name?
The name, let me talk about first. We were in Baltimore. This old guy used to show up all the time. I can't remember his name. I've asked Jerry about it. Jerry knows the guy, but can't remember. It was an old black guy, old black wrestler, and he'd show up with his bag. He was 70-something years old at the time. They wasn't going to wrestle, but Vince wanted to give him money, and he didn't want to embarrass him, so he'd tell him to bring his gear down, and he'd bring his gear down, and I'd see Tim White or Arnie go over to him and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, we can't use you today." The guy's 70-something years old. They're not going to use him, but we're going to pay you, and they always pay him several $1,000s. So he was late one day, and Vince said, "Where you been?" And he goes, "Vince, my car broke down." And he told Tim White, he goes, "Well, go get him a car." And so they went and bought him like a brand new Lincoln or a brand new Cadillac or a brand new like luxury car. And so finally, I'd seen this guy so many times. I said, "Timmy, who is that guy?" He goes, "Oh, you got to ask Vince." So I went over to ask Vince. I said, "Vince, we're on the plane that one night." And I said, "Who is that guy that you always give money to?" And he did that all around the countries, we talked about. And he said, "You ever hear that song, Bad, Bad Leroy Brown?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "It might as well have been written about him." And he said, "Well, my daddy had that office there on 14th and I." He said that man would take care, because they were in kind of a bad area. The arena was, the office was, DC, outside of the tourist areas, can be a pretty rough place.
Are you talking about James Dudley?
I believe that's right. Yes. Okay. I believe that's his name.
He's in the WWE Hall of Fame.
What's that? He's
in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Really? See, I didn't know that. I just always saw him come with his bag, and I believe it's James Dudley. That's right. Yeah.
Respectfully, I know this sounds weird because it's us, but this is a black dude, right? You're talking
about? Yeah, old black guy. Yeah.
James Dudley. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's right. That's him. Yeah. He'd always show me his bag.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was like, wait a
Vince
minute.
Bought him a car one day. Vince bought him a car one day because he was late, and his car broke down. And so Vince, and I asked Vince about him. He told me Bad Leroy Brown. He said my daddy, he always took care of my daddy. And he said my dad said when he sold me the business, he said, "Always take care of that man because he looked out after my life." He said he probably saved my life many times. And so Vince, until the day that man died, took care of that man. It was just a cool thing. That was when I saw that 14th and I. That's what I thought about was James Dudley, but I couldn't remember his name. I'd seen him for so many years, and I always say hi to him, and I'd always speak to him. And he was always very nice. He'd sit in Vince's office. He'd go and sit in Vince's office. He was so comfortable at home around Vince. Vince loved him. But I just always talk to him. And first thing I thought of when I saw that 14th and I think it's great what Vince is doing. I don't know how good of an investor he is because, I worked on Wall Street for a while, and there tends to be people in two different categories. There's usually guys that are operators, or there's guys that are visionaries. And maybe might be a third, the guys like me that were investors. Vince is an operator. Vince is like Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon can run a bank that has got tentacles in 200 different countries. Jamie Dimon's best probably operator in the world. Vince is an operator. I don't know how good of an investor he is, especially if he's a passive investor. I don't know. I mean, if Vince invested in a media property and he sees it not working well, he's going to take over. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a passive investment company or if it's one where you go in and actually take over and become an operator. If it's an operator, I think that's what Vince wants to do. He wants to be in that chair. He wants to be running something. That's what he loves doing. He used to ask me, he goes, how in the world can you go out there for 4 hours on a golf course? That to him would have been hell. Vince did not want to spend 4 hours not working. So I'm happy that he's back. I hope it's something where he steps in as an operator role for some of these media properties more than just an investor.
I am really interested, and I think the entire wrestling world is to see what's next for Vince McMahon. You thinking about James Dudley for a minute. Do I have it right? Is there a story about him and a straight razor or something like that?
I've heard something very similar about that story, but I'm not. Yes, there was a lot of stories. He was a bad man. He was a tough dude. That's why Vince, because he literally took care of Vince Sr. He was the guy that would walk him in and out of the bad areas. Make sure he walked in and out of the building with back then he carried a briefcase full of cash. James Dudley was the one who took care of him. Yeah.
Man, what a great story. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think a lot of our audience, hell, even you didn't know that he was in the WWE Hall of Fame. I think he went the same year Andre did, like 94, like that inaugural class. Like it was,
wow.
I think it meant that much to Vince. Like, hey, we'll put Andre and James Dudley in.
Wow. I got to look that up as soon as I'm done. I'm excited now to look it up, and because I hadn't known his name for years. I'd forgotten his name.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment, and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105 or get yourself a quick quote. Even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com.